A good Wednesday to you all, and welcome to another edition of the Weather Academy for this October. And today we're going to be talking about some fog. And here is, at least at the time of this recording, this is our weather camera uh, on our tower. And you're saying, yeah, I can't see much. Well, that's because there's fog surrounding it. If you look closely, you see these little white dots. Those are lights. Those are headlights, or in this case, probably the lights. This is about where I-90 is, and we have those traffic lights, and we have other lights here, as you can see. But that's all we can see. Now, fog fog is a cloud. What is fog? It's a cloud that's close to the ground, and it forms the same way as a cloud. You have a lot of moisture in the air, and that moisture condenses into water vapor that we see as a cloud. But while most of the time that happens above the surface, it happens with fog when you're at the surface, and it can cause a lot of problems. Fog, obviously, one of the biggest problems here is visibility. When you're traveling through the roadways there, a lot of times you could have clear skies, you could have clear vision, and suddenly you go into a fog bank and visibility drops very quickly. That's why it's important when there's fog around to slow down your speed, and whenever you're outside, use the low beams. Okay, a lot of times if you put on the higher beams with fog, it scatters the light even more and reflects more back to you, and the visibility could actually be worse. So use the low beams, and as always, take it slow. With reduced visibility, that means things can come up on you very quickly, and that's why we tell you to slow down. The other problem with fog, it's not a problem right now, but later on, when it gets colder, sometimes the fog can leave a layer of ice when the temperatures are below freezing. We often call that freezing fog, and that could actually be more dangerous than getting a lot of snow on the roadways because the fog can form a lot of black ice. Probably the only thing worse than fog on a freezing day is freezing drizzle or freezing rain, which can put a lot of ice that's very hard to get rid of. But we're here with fog right now. And so, again, with fog, what do we look at as meteorologists when we want to determine if fog is going to form like this? Well, as we head on over to the graphics here, the first thing we look at is the humidity. So relative humidity, most of the time fog will form with the humidity. I mean, technically we want to have fog at humidity at 100%, but you don't have to have that. You could have relative humidity as low as 90%, but generally speaking, you want to have a relative humidity of at least 90%. And as we see here, relative humidity indeed greater than 90% at the time that we're recording here. Even Erie and Bradford at 90, where oddly enough the fog not as thick here, and but Franklin had 100%, Youngstown, Meadville, Ashtabula, all well over 90%. So you want to have very high relative humidity. The other thing you'd probably want to have are relatively light winds. Okay, so you don't have to have totally calm conditions with fog. In fact, a lot of times, especially with the different types of fog, sometimes fog that comes off the lake, we call that advection fog, where cool air hangs over warmer lake waters. It adds moisture to it. Sounds like lake effect. Well, it is. In this case, though, instead of snow, it advects the fog, and you actually want some wind to blow that fog on shore. But you can have a light wind, but generally speaking, you want to have winds less than 10 miles an hour like we have here. So we have light winds, high relative humidity, and now there are times when you can have fog that's most common with clear skies. In this case, we don't have clear skies. Clear skies help the temperatures drop to the dew point. And when the temperatures and the dew point are equal, that's when you have relative humidity of 100%. But if you had a lot of rain, like we did, again, as of this recording, we did have a lot of rainfall from yesterday, and that rain kept the clouds in, but also added to the moisture, which allowed that fog to form. And that fog can cause some pretty low visibilities in spots. You can see visibility Anything less than 1 is considered fairly dense fog. So while Erie, Meadville, and Ashtabula are not too bad, look at this. Bradford at not 0, no, less than a mile. Franklin, Youngstown, Jamestown about a mile. So those are the things that you can get when you have high humidity, you have light winds, and you can have some fairly good, again, high humidity, and either a lot of moisture in the air from rainfall, or generally tranquil weather situation here. Quickly, what do I mean by that? Well, we have, again, this particular satellite radar composite, though low moves away. A lot of times you want to have high pressure. In this case, we have high pressure ridging to our north, and while it's not over us, we'd like to have it over us to have a classic case. But if it's nearby, it keeps the winds light, and the high, which we usually associate with good weather, actually traps that moisture and doesn't allow it to escape. So if it does manage to condense, that's when we can get some fog. So there you have it, everyone. Hope you enjoyed our little version here of Weather Academy. Take care, and we'll see you soon.